Are you ready for the quantum age?
Humanity's next step in evolution?
Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network invites you to the extraordinary platform of evolutionary voices for the quantum age.
Let's explore. Learn more about this upcoming age where we bridge science with spirituality.
Where potentiality meets reality.
Where we take compassion into action.
Our trailblazers and visionaries will ask the whys, the what-ifs, while igniting continuous possibility.
Come along with us into an age beyond what we know today, where we can grow together in unity consciousness.
Experience evolutionary voices for the quantum age, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on Dreamvision7Radio.com.
Welcome to Radical Transformational Leadership with Dr. Monica Sharma, heard every other Tuesday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and every Saturday, 6 a.m. Eastern. This is a Dream Vision 7 Radio Network production on the Evolutionary Voices for the Quantum Age platform. To learn more, go to Dreamvisions7Radio.com. The survival and future of humanity and civilization depends on the framework Monica Sharma outlines in Radical Transformational Leadership. It is my sincere hope that anyone who wants to participate in healing our wounded planet will read this book and follow its principles. Anyone who doubts that the change is needed to lift our world beyond the chaos of today's deep problems and political chest thumping need look no further than this book. The new field she describes as radical systems and cultural transformation constitutes a kind of invisible renaissance emerging around the world of understanding the entwined inner and outer nature of genuine systemic change. I invite you into this most powerful show with Dr. Monica Sharma.
Thank you so much, Deborah, for promoting this work, for acknowledging my contribution, and I'm delighted to be on this radio show again. This is Monica, and today we have a guest speaker, and I know as listeners I would have loved to listen to her. Her name is Prithvi Mahadevan. She's an architect by profession, a young professional, and in this time of her life, her young life, she has been able to make significant contributions. And so I'm going to share with you the contributions that she has made and be able to inspire each other and others with knowing how to design differently. Because ultimately, I need to stand and anchor myself in who I am, my universal values. But if I can't see the unworkable patterns, if I am not able to respond to those unworkable patterns by designing differently, I will carry on wanting change, working for change, but not being able to manifest that change. So today we will focus again on a different aspect of design, the space between design and implementing what we've designed. So that's not exactly design, that's more like what principles, what strategies must I be able to integrate into my design so that I can implement with ease. And you will hear examples of this. As Buckminster Fuller said, we are all engaged today in a design science revolution. It's not a bloody revolution because nobody succeeds in that bloody revolution. Nobody really wins. But when we have a design revolution, an evolutionary design space, then what we have is a radical evolutionary process, a process that will result in change because we use science as we do in this process. It's radical because it addresses the root factors. And it is from there that we are going to be able to shape a new reality for humanity. So there are some strategies in the work that I have done, in the work that we teach, that are very important to put in place so that whatever we want to manifest, the ideas that we work on, the projects that we work on, the teaching training programs that we design, the consulting that we do, are all based on this. So what we know is universal values are a firm and continuing foundation for enduring change, because contexts change. And in order to be relevant to the moment, I need to anchor myself somewhere and stretch beyond our grasp to be able to design differently. So yes, universal values. And how do we take those values and shape, through the conscious full spectrum approach, a new way of shifting norms and systems that are not workable as we act? Because that space is largely invisible, right? The systems and norms. You don't see them. You see the effects of them. You see the actions that are born out of them. You don't see racism. It's like you see it in actions of people. And then people interpret that action differently depending on my lens. Is my lens exclusionary, or is it based on universal values? Then I look at those actions differently. I look at what's not working, the violation of human rights or sexual harassment, differently, not as that's our norm, that's our culture. So once we design, we need to be pragmatic. We need to see what does it take to make this become a reality. And many of the examples you will hear are really about making this pragmatic decision. So we know that the first thing that we need to do in order that my idea, my project, my initiative, whether that's at home, at work, or in society, that is a way to draw out the full potential of people. Therefore, I need to proactively explicitly put a series of activities related to my project, related to what I want to do at home, like educating our kids, a place where I am able to unfold my full potential. And we know that a personal transformation is an essential space for us, or an essential strategy, really, for us to be able to generate results. But we know that if we don't design differently, that personal transformation does not lead automatically to social transformation. We need templates that allow us to connect this whole beyond just our logical mind. It needs to include our logical mind. So what are those strategies? The first one, as I just said, is our ability to design differently and include in that design one operational strategy, which is to be able to create platforms where people connect to who they are, open up their pattern minds differently, give themselves permission to be creative artists of the planet, and then move forward. But there is a second thing we must have in order that we are not all over the place and actually with good intention wanting to make a difference but not really being able to do that, is we need information. And in this information age, where there is a huge amount of information, we need to be able to sift that. We need to be able to discern what information do I need in order that I can make the change I wish to see. And I must discern rather than blindly follow propaganda. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It needs to be sourced in values. It needs to be open. It needs to be rigorous. It needs to be not rigid. It is not about information that promotes a particular ideology. It's about information that allows the transformational leader, the radical transformational leader, who has exposed himself, herself, or themselves to this process and is ready to step in to a whole different way of designing and implementing mindfully. For that, I need courage, right? But I need information so that I know I'm on track. I also need information to actually track what I'm doing. So I need to be able to have information that's simple, that's understandable, that's the basis, one of the bases of what I do. Because having science as a space of decision-making is vital. Science, data is vital. And of course, science evolves as time goes by because science is not a static space. And it's not always black and white, and we need to be able to see what works. But information is a very vital space. And I need to be able to have access to information. I don't need to generate all of that. But information and how I create in my projects a way to inform myself is vital. Don't we inform ourselves about our bank balance? Isn't that what we do in our everyday life? Don't we inform ourselves about the salary scales? Don't we inform ourselves about how our kids are doing? Don't we measure the health status that we have to know whether I'm losing weight, if that's my intention? So we all use information on a daily basis. This invitation is to allow ourselves to use this information that we have about the health of the planet, the thriving of people, and be able to do it the same way as we look at our own bodies or our bank balance or whatever else that matters to us. You see, the foundation of this work is that you really care. And if I don't care, I will not seek that information. So I care about the planet. You care about the planet. So I seek that information. So do you. So first, I look at creating platforms for people to be able to unfold their full potential. Second, I, in my project, make sure that there is the critical information that people need to make decisions. And that holds true in organizations, whether that's at the level of the CEO or it's at any other level. We need information to make decisions. And then, of course, our decisions are based on values, on universal values of fairness, of dignity, of compassion. And too often, we don't use information for making those decisions. There is a third dimension that affects our work. And that third dimension is the policies and the media that create the environment in which we have to work. So you will hear how Prithvi has started working with these templates and tools with government, because once we can work with governments in the domain that she's working, or with business leaders, then we are able to look at what environment are we creating. It's government, business leaders, it's the CEOs of non-governmental agencies, citizens groups. All of these create the narratives that we live by. So we need, and the policies. So we need to work with policies, because without that, we don't have the context for us to go ahead and implement change. And very often, the policies we want are not fully present. So we then go and start working simultaneously with people who are changing policies. That's the third piece. And the fourth piece, the piece that's almost always missing, is to create a support structure for people who are principled as in anchored in values, and who are stepping up to make a difference. And that's the piece that is normally missing. You will see how in a subtle way